Welcome to all of you Shiksha 360, and today basically we will discuss MCQ discussion, that is set number 5, and set number 5 it basically belongs from chapter number 16. Clear? Chapter number 16 of your BFM, that is Introduction to Treasury Management. Clear? That is Introduction to Treasury Management. Clear? Mostly basically 90% basically this is theoretical based topic. Clear? Theoretical based topic. Clear? And basically 1 or 2 numericals basically we will expect from that, basically which we will discuss side by side. Clear? Basically which we will discuss side by side. Clear? So let's start our discussion, and the first question basically on your screens now. So basically question number 53. Clear? Where what it says that, clear, basically which of the following risk, clear, basically which of the following risk is not faced by participating banks basically in the interbank market. Clear? Basically which of the following risk basically is not faced by the participating banks basically in the interbank market. Clear? Basically by the participating banks basically in the interbank market. Clear? So basically there are 4 risks basically they have mentioned: credit risk, stability risk, sovereignty risk, settlement risk. Clear? Basically which of the following is not faced? Clear? Basically which of the following risk it is not, which of the following is not a risk faced by the participating banks basically in the interbank market? Clear? Basically by the participating bank in the interbank market. Clear? Basically which of the following is not faced: credit risk, stability risk, sovereignty risk, settlement risk. Clear? Basically settlement risk. So what is the answer? What is the answer of this question? Clear? As basically we know that basically treasury basically operates largely in the interbank market. Clear? Largely basically in the interbank market. Clear? As basically they have also mentioned that is interbank market. So basically in the interbank market, clear, basically which of the following risk basically they will not face? Clear? So they are almost basically free of the credit risk. Clear? So treasury basically operates largely in the interbank market. Clear? Same question basically they have mentioned that. Clear? Basically which of the following is not a risk faced by the participating banks in the interbank market? Clear? Basically in the interbank market. Clear? So that is basically credit risk. Clear? Basically credit risk. Clear? So the answer here is option number A. Clear? The answer here is option number A. Clear? That is a credit risk. Clear? So now move to the next question. Question number 2. Investment made by a bank. Clear? Basically investment basically made by a bank in its subsidiaries. Clear? Basically investment basically made by a bank in its subsidiaries is considered in dash category in its balance sheet. Clear? Basically investment made by a bank in its subsidiary basically is considered in dash category basically in its balance sheet. First one is secured advances, second one is basically other assets, third one is basically investments, fourth one is basically unsecured advances. Clear? Basically fourth one here, that is unsecured advances. Clear? Fourth one basically that is unsecured advances. Clear? So what is the correct answer of this question? Clear? What is the correct answer of this question? Investment made by a bank in its subsidiaries. Clear? Basically investment made by a bank basically in its subsidiaries is considered in which category? Is considered basically in the investment category. Clear? Basically is considered basically in the investment categories basically in its balance sheet. Clear? Basically in its balance sheet. And further basically one question I will discuss you: why banks invest in government securities? Clear? Basically why banks invest in government securities? Clear? Sometimes basically this type of question will be asked in the examination. Clear? So banks basically investing in the government securities basically for what? To satisfy the SLR requirement. Clear? What is the main criteria basically for the banks to investment in the government securities? Clear? As there is basically we already know that. Clear? There is not much output from that. Clear? Basically they will not get more benefit from that, but they will get one thing, that is basically to satisfy the SLR requirement. to satisfy the SLR requirements. Clear? That is statutory liquidity ratio. Clear? For satisfying the SLR requirements, basically banks are mainly investing in the government securities. Clear? Basically government securities. So now move to the next question, question number 55. So trading positions arising out of bank's own position are clear. Basically this is basically we have already discussed in the part 1. Clear? Basically this point basically we have already discussed basically in the part 1 or part 2. Clear? I think basically in the part 2 basically we have discussed this thing. Clear? Basically this is one of the role. Clear? Trading, basically we have discussed 3 roles of treasury. Clear? Basically we have discussed 3 roles of treasury. First one is liquidity management. Basically we have discussed 3 roles of the treasury. First one is liquidity management. Second one is proprietary positions. Third one is risk management. Clear? Basically risk management. 3 roles basically we have discussed. So basically out of the 3, basically what is the question say that basically trading positions basically arising out of bank's own positions. Clear? Basically arising out of bank's own position. Clear? That is basically known as the proprietary positions. Clear? That is basically known as the proprietary positions. Clear? That is basically known as the proprietary positions. Clear? So let's discuss here once again. Basically treasury may trade in. Clear? Basically treasury may trade in. Basically we can say that currencies, securities and other financial instruments. Clear? Treasury basically may trade in currencies, securities and other financial instruments, basically including derivatives. Clear? Basically for what? Why basically the treasury basically will trade? Basically in order to contribute bank's profits. Clear? Basically in order to contribute bank's profit. Clear? So trading position basically arising out of bank's own positions are basically called as proprietary positions. Clear? Are basically called as proprietary positions. Clear? So the answer is option number A. Clear? The answer is option number A, that is proprietary positions. Clear? So basically here day exposure, overnight exposure, speculative position, all are not related to that. Clear? Day exposure basically how many basically they are holding the shares basically at the daytime, overnight basically at the end of the day. Clear? Basically that is present in the open position. Clear? That is present in the open position, that are not scared of. Clear? That are basically comes under the overnight exposures. Okay, so basically trading positions arising out of bank's own positions are basically known as proprietary positions. Clear? Basically for what? Basically treasury basically may trade in the currencies, securities or the financial instruments, basically including the derivatives. Clear? Basically including the derivatives, basically in order to contribute. Clear? Basically for what? Basically in order to contribute the bank's profit. Clear? Basically in order to contribute for the bank's profit. So now what is basically liquidity management? Clear? Basically what is the liquidity management? Sometimes basically they will ask question on that. Liquidity management here basically what is? Basically treasury is responsible. Clear? For the treasury is also responsible for managing short-term funds across the currencies. Clear? Treasury is also responsible basically for managing short-term funds basically across the currencies. Clear? And also basically they have to give compliance for the reserve requirements. Clear? Basically for the reserve requirements like SLR, CRR. Clear? So that are all these things. Clear? Basically all these things basically comes under the liquidity management. Clear? All these things basically comes under the liquidity management. So now move to the next question, question number 56. Clear? Now move to the next question, question number 56. So the difference between the rate for buying and selling of foreign currency. Clear? That is buying basically known to be as buying is basically known as bid rate. Buying is basically known as bid rate. Selling basically known as offer rate. Clear? Basically at which basically you are offering any currency for the selling. Clear? So the difference between the bid rate and the offer rate. Clear? So the difference between the bid rate and offer rate. Sorry, offer rate and bid rate. Clear, because offer rate it is always more. Clear, offer rate it is always more than the bid rate. Clear, that is selling rate is basically we will always sell at a higher price and basically we will buy at a lower price. Clear. So the difference between the selling price and the buying price, or basically the difference between the offer rate and bid rate, it is basically known as surplus. No. Profit. No. Gain. No. Basically it is known as spread. Clear. Basically it is known as spread. Clear. Difference between the buying and the selling rate, basically it is known as a spread. Clear. Basically it is known as a spread. Clear. So on the basis of that, clear, basically on the basis of that, basically we have to discuss one numerical. Clear. Basically we have to discuss one numerical. First of all, basically we will discuss that. So the question here basically on your screens now, question number 60. Basically consider the following quotes. Clear. Basically what they are saying that basically consider the following quotes. Basically here they have given spot euro pound. Clear. Basically spot euro to pound, that is 1.6543 / 1.6557. Second one basically spot pounds to NZ, New Zealand's currency, that is 0.2786 / 0.2800. Clear. So this one is the bid rate and this one is the offer rate. Clear. So basically bid rate, offer rate. Clear. So calculate the percentage spread on the euro pound rate. Clear. That is basically they are asking calculate the percentage spread basically of this one. Clear. Basically what they are saying that basically calculate the percentage spread basically of the on the euro pound rate, that is spot euro / pound. Clear. So basically what is the percentage spread? So what is the basically percentage spread on that? So basically that is basically we will know that offer rate. Now basically we have to calculate the percentage, not only spread, that is percentage spread, that is offer rate. Please tell fast what is the answer, minus bid rate. And also please like the video basically who have watched or in the later form that is recorded, that is upon bid rate into 100. So basically from here basically we will get the percentage spread, that is offer rate basically 1.6557 minus bid rate 1.6543 upon 1.6543 into 100. Clear. So basically when we are going to calculate this one, clear, basically we are able to get the answer. Clear. Basically we are able to get the answer. So basically just do simple subtraction, 1.6557 minus 1.6543. So in the numerator basically what we will get basically 0.0014 upon 1.6543 into 100. So divide it by basically 1.6543. 0.0014 divided by 1.6543 into 100. So basically here basically when we are doing this one, basically we will get 0.0846. Clear. 0.0846. Clear. So that is basically we can say that basically this one not 0.00 not, this is 0.08, this one is not 0.85, no, this one is very more. So this one 0.0846. Clear. So basically it is approximately is equal to 50. Clear. So basically we will know that the answer is basically option number D, that the answer is option number D, that is 0.0850%. Clear. So that is basically the percentage spread basically on the euro pound rate. Clear. So that is basically known as the percentage spread basically on the euro pound rate. Clear. Hope it is clear to all of you basically how basically you have to answer. Clear. Sometimes basically we are like basically they are giving you the case study. Clear. Basically sometimes basically they are giving you the case study. Clear. So just basically you have to answer the question. Clear. On the basis of that. Clear. Because in the case study sometimes basically they will ask simple these types of question. Clear. Among the 3 or 5 question they will ask this type of simple question. Clear. In the case study. Clear. That's why basically I will discuss here. Now move to the next question, that is basically again question number 57. Clear. Again question number 57. So what is the question here? Wait a minute. So basically here they are saying that basically treasury function of the bank connects which activity, clear, basically treasury function of the bank connects which activity of the banks with the financial market, clear, basically treasury activity of the bank, clear, treasury function of the bank basically connects which activity of the banks with the financial market, clear, basically this basically we have already discussed in the part 1 in detail, clear, chapter 16 part 1 in detail, clear, basically I think in the initial second or third slide, clear, basically we have discussed this, clear, treasury function or treasury basically connects which activity of the bank with the financial market, basically they will connect to the core activity, clear, basically treasury function of the bank basically connects the core activity. Sometimes basically they will ask directly which activity, that is basically they connect to the core activity of the bank with the financial market, clear. So what is the core activity of the bank? Core activity of the bank basically deposit taking and that further basically lending, clear. So basically these are the core activity, clear. So basically treasury basically connects the or treasury of the bank basically connects the core activity of the bank basically with the financial market, that is deposit taking and lending, clear, that is basically deposit taking and lending, clear. So basically the correct answer is option number C, that is A is also correct one, B is also correct one, clear, deposit taking and lending, clear, basically both are comes under the core activity, clear. So basically treasury connects the core activity of the bank basically with the financial market. So the answer is option number C, that is both of the two, clear, that is basically both of the two, clear. So this one is our answer. Now move to the next question, clear, basically now move to the next question, question number 58. So the process, clear, basically on the basis of that basically they will ask one case study, clear, basically that is one case study, clear, similar type of concept, clear, that is basically we have discussed under the chapter number 1, clear. So the process of utilizing different interest rates basically between two economies, raise funds basically in a low cost economy and lending basically in a high cost economy, basically it is called, clear, that is basically where the interest rate is low, basically you are basically we can say that basically purchasing from that, and basically where there is demand more or basically there is high cost and basically we are sending in that, clear, basically we are sending or basically we are selling in that, clear, basically we are selling in that, clear. So the process of utilizing different interest rates basically between two economies through raising funds basically in the low cost economy, clear, basically through raising funds basically in the low cost economy and lending basically in the high cost economy, basically it is called as arbitrage, ALM, benchmarking or embedded option, clear. The correct answer here basically that is arbitrage, clear, that is arbitrage, clear. So arbitrage is it is basically what, clear, basically it is related to that basically buying in the low cost and selling basically at the high, clear, selling at the high, clear, or basically raising funds basically in the low cost economy and lending basically in the high cost economy, basically that is known as arbitrage, clear, basically that is known as arbitrage, clear. So now move to the question number 59. Straightforward question, that is basically totally theory based question, clear, basically these types of question basically you will get, clear, only this is the figure, clear, in chapter number 9 16, clear, basically which is formed in the form of questionnaire, clear. So RBI has permitted banks, clear, basically RBI has permitted banks to borrow through their overseas correspondent, clear, basically RBI has also allowed the banks basically to borrow through their overseas correspondents, clear, basically correspondents in foreign currency, clear, basically in which form, basically that is in the foreign currency, subject to a ceiling of basically subject to ceiling, that is maximum how much, clear, how much percentage basically or amount, clear, subject to a ceiling of dash of their unimpaired tier 1 capital and or amount, clear, or amounts, clear. So basically what is the answer, basically RBI has permitted banks through their overseas correspondents basically in foreign currency subject to a ceiling of basically 100% of their unimpaired tier 1 capital or basically USD 10 million, clear, or basically USD 10 million. One point basically they have not mentioned it, basically whichever amount is higher, clear, basically whichever amount is higher, clear, basically whichever amount is higher, clear. So basically RBI has permitted banks, clear. So here basically RBI has permitted banks to borrow through their overseas correspondents basically in foreign currency subject to a ceiling of 100% of their unimpaired tier 1 capital or 10 million or USD 10 million. Clear? Write it also right here, or USD 10 million, whichever amount is higher. Clear? Basically, whichever amount is higher. Clear? So this one is the answer. Now move to the next question, question number 60, basically, which we have already discussed. That is basically related to the spread. Clear? That is basically totally related to the spread. Now move to the next question, question number 61. Clear? Very, very important question. That is basically related to the integrated treasury. Clear? Basically, that is related to the integrated treasury. Clear? This question basically we have already discussed. Clear? This point basically we have already discussed basically in the part 1 of the chapter number 60. Integrated treasury in the banking basically setup refers to. Clear? Basically, integrated treasury in the banking. Clear? Basically, integrated treasury basically in the banking setup refers to computerization of all bank branches, computerization basically of all the treasury operations, computerization basically of all back office operations of the forex branches, integration of money market, securities market, and foreign exchange operations. Clear? Basically, integration of money market, securities market, and foreign exchange operations. Clear? So basically, the correct answer here is, before moving forward, that basically we have discussed that basically till 1990s or till 90s, securities, or basically we can say that investment in securities and foreign exchange business. Clear? Basically, investment in securities and foreign exchange business. Foreign exchange business basically constituted two separate departments. Clear? Basically, earlier basically they have two separate departments basically in the banking. Clear? In the banks. Clear? Investment securities, it is a different department, and foreign exchange business basically it is a different department. Clear? So basically, integrated treasury basically in the banking. Clear? Integrated treasury basically in the banking setup basically refers to the computerization of all bank branches, computerization of all treasury operations, computerization of basically all back office operations of the forex branches. Fourth one is basically integration of money market, securities market, and foreign exchange operations. Clear? So the correct answer is basically, earlier basically they are considered to be different. That is basically investment in the securities or foreign exchange. Clear? But under the integrated treasury, clear, basically later on basically they will make part, these two functions, clear, basically make part of the integrated treasury. Clear? The answer is basically integration of the money market, securities market, and foreign exchange business. Clear? Or foreign exchange operation, basically it is known, considered to be as the integrated treasury. Clear? Basically it is considered to be as the integrated treasury. Clear? Now move to the next one, that is last question of our today's session. The functions of integrated treasury. Clear? Now basically we have to discuss that the functions of the integrated treasury. Clear? What are the functions of the integrated treasury? Clear? So the first one basically that is on your screen now. The first one is global cash management. Clear? Basically we have already discussed this basically in the part 2. Clear? In the part 2. Clear? Basically what are the functions? Clear? Of the integrated treasury. Clear? Basically first one is the global cash management. Second one is basically the optimizing profit basically by exploiting market opportunities. Clear? Basically optimizing profit by exploiting market opportunities. Basically under that basically what we have discussed, that is forex market, market opportunities, basically that is forex market, money market, securities market. Under the securities, both debt, equity, and credit derivative market. Clear? So this one is the function, that is global cash management. Yes, this is the function of the integrated treasury. Second one, basically optimizing profit basically by exploiting market opportunity. Basically this one is also the function. Clear? That is basically forex market, money market, or the securities market. Third one is basically managing the market risk of the bank or entity. Clear? Basically managing the market risk of the bank or entity. Clear? Basically this basically we have already discussed. This one is also the function of the treasury. That is basically risk management. Clear? So basically managing the market risk of the bank or entity, that is basically risk management. Clear? So basically this is also the function of the integrated treasury, clear, that is managing the risk management, clear. This is basically managing the risk management or assisting RBI management basically in the ALM, clear, that is asset liability management. This one is not correct, clear. The integrated treasury is not assisting RBI management, clear. They are not assisting the RBI management, basically they are assisting the bank management, clear. Integrated treasury basically assisting the bank management, not the RBI management, clear. Basically in the ALM, clear, basically in the asset liability management, clear, basically in the asset liability management, clear. So the basically A, B and C are correct here, clear. Basically what are the function of integrated treasury? First one is the global cash management, this one is correct. Optimizing profit by exploiting market opportunities, basically this one is also correct. Third one is basically managing the market risk of the bank or entity, clear, this one is also correct, clear. In the fourth option, basically they have given the RBI management, clear. RBI management, basically it is wrong. In the place of RBI management, basically it is bank management, clear, assisting the bank management basically in the ALM, clear, not the RBI management, clear. So the above three options are correct here, so this one is the answer here. Clear? So this one is the answer here, clear. So there are one or two more function, that is basically fourth one, basically we can say that this one is bank management. Fifth one, basically we can say that like meeting reserve requirement, clear, basically meeting reserve requirement, that is CRR and SLR, clear, that is CRR and SLR, clear. Basically they will ask in the place of that any other function also, clear, any other function also, clear. So I request to all of you, please go through these points properly so that you are able to answer the question, clear, so that able to answer the question, clear. So in this session, basically we will discuss up to this much point, and in the upcoming sessions, clear, basically when we will discuss MCQs, clear, basically we will discuss more MCQs on the basis of that, clear. Basically we will discuss more MCQs on the basis of that. Some will be provided in your Telegram group, and some basically we will discuss in the form of that, clear, along with basically case study, clear, so that you are able to understand what type of question basically they will ask, and basically how basically we have to prepare according to that, clear. Basically it just lets to basically practice purpose, clear, or basically more understanding purpose, so that basically you are able to answer the question in the examination, clear. So thanks to all of you for participating in this discussion of the MCQs, clear.